Hey, good morning. It is morning here where I am. I wanted to get to some of the things that I do that are part of my writing process. There's quite a few, so it may take 2 or 3 videos. I'll try to keep them initially short and in pieces, and you can watch what you want. And it is morning here. I've already been up very early, as I may have spoken to you about before. I have a regular routine. I generally get up around 5 o'clock in the morning, if not earlier, and I write until about 9, 10 o'clock. And then I go off and I do other things. Now, doing the other things are important because it helps you to reset your brain. And sometimes when you come back to your writing, as I'm going to do here in a couple minutes, you feel refreshed and ready to write the next sentence. I have since gotten up. I got up early this morning. I wrote. I went outside. I cut some tree limbs. I watered some plants. And now I'm back at the writing table to do a little bit more. What I wanted to talk to you about this morning is that maybe the question that I get asked the most is, how do I start writing? I want to write. I want to be a writer. And you haven't yet, and it's okay. You haven't yet decided whether you want to write fiction or nonfiction or a memoir, which a lot of people write because they want to talk about their family and their parents and brothers and sisters and so forth. But anyway, they often approach me and say, how do I begin? And one of the things that I think helps people is I encourage them to consider sitting down and journaling. I have a famous writer friend who's gone now, and he used to say that every day you should write. Every day. It doesn't matter if you write, I don't know what to write about. Write it. Start it. And as I may have told you in another video, writing is an exercise. It's much like going to the gym. If you don't do it on a regular basis, you get rusty and it's painful. But if you write every day, regardless of what you write, it will help you to stay in shape, to write better. Anyway, I suggest that people begin maybe with a journal. Maybe something as simple as this right here. You pick up at your local CVS or Walgreens or whatever. And I took this down to the beach several times and I wrote notes in it and it gave me story ideas and I might draw a picture or two, although I'm not a very good picture drawer. But I wrote a lot in here and it gave me fodder. It gave me fuel for stories I wanted to write. But this is a great place for a beginning writer to write. Open it up, turn to the first page, put down a date, whatever the date is, and start writing. And it doesn't matter if you only write 3 sentences or you write 4 or 5 pages. Okay, that's what's important. And then I graduated later on. Actually, this wasn't the beginning. The beginning were those, when I was a kid, were those big red, big chief in full headdress on the cover tablets with big old pencils. Anyway, this is good for a beginning writer. And now I use these sorts of things whenever I'm away from my computer. I'm off running around doing things like hiking in the mountains and stuff. And I use these to keep notes on. Now you can also keep notes on your cell phone, and I often do. There's a note app, and you can press it and go, here's a great story idea, or here's what I want this character to say the next time I sit at the computer. That's another way to keep notes. But I graduated eventually to a big old journal like this. I think I've shown this to you before in other videos, and I've written a lot in here. A lot. And I write, and I write with a fountain pen. Now you may have noticed that I have a trimmer. It's familial. It's what's known as an ET, an essential trimmer. Whenever I engage my muscles in picking up something, like this, they shake. Whenever I'm at rest, I'm not holding anything, well, not then, they tend to be still. So it's not Parkinson's yet, my doctor tells me. My doctor calls it ET plus, meaning that I shake a little more than the average person. 1 out of 4 people will have a trimmer like this at some point in their age, and at my age, I got the trimmer. But I write with a fountain pen, and writing with a fountain pen when you have a trimmer is very difficult. But I used to write with just an old, Bic kind of pen years ago. And my daughter said, why don't you use, or no, she didn't say that. What she did was she sent me from her workplace a fountain pen. And I was overjoyed because when I started college, a long time ago, I used a fountain pen to take notes in class. So here my daughter was inviting me to pick up a fountain pen again and use it, and I did. And I eventually went out and bought a lot of expensive fountain pen. See, it's got a little quill on the end. And because of my shake, it's sometimes hard to keep the point of this pen on the page. I don't care. I don't journal because I want people to come back and read it someday. And in fact, because it's written in cursive, and cursive seems to be a dying art, 100 years from now, if these journals mean anything, somebody's going to have to be, somebody like interpreting hieroglyphics to be able to read my journals. So I really don't care. By the way, never expect that what you write in your journal is going to be interesting. It's not. I go back and I look at certain entries I made years ago because I have a bookcase full of these, filled with my writing. I go back and look at them and they're boring. The only time I find them interesting is when I could go back to a date of a certain world event, and you can think of several, and I look at what my thoughts were on that day. That could be interesting. But what I actually write in here, that's not so interesting. I like these journals, and I'm not suggesting you buy them. I buy them kind of in bulk. This one's still in the package, and it's waiting for me to finish with this one, and I can open this one and start it. These are not cheap. They are expensive by journal standards. 10 to 100 times more than something like this. But this paper lasts for 100 years, and we all live with the thought that long after we're gone, we want something of us to remain. So I write in very expensive journals. I also, because these journals are so important to me, I use a leather case, and this one's pretty beat up, but I use a leather case like this to put my journal in, like that, and then close it up and zip it up. And this one's pretty beat up because I've actually had this on the roof of my car, driven away, had it fall in the street, and someone found it and called me. Now on the first page of every journal, right here, you can see the writing, I write my name, my cell phone number, my permanent address, and then I ask people, if you find it, would you please bring it back to me? And they have. Anyway, it's nice to have it in the case because I can walk into places, set it on the counter, and when I'm ready to write, I can open it up and start writing. So I protect it a little bit more. I'm going to have to find another one of these cases soon. Anyway, journaling is incredibly important. Yeah, I know I have more to say, but I think I've gone on long enough. I hope you have a great day.